What is going down, my YouTube family? It's your boy Zary, and we are here in Eternal Evolution. It is the morning before Thanksgiving. Got my coffee here, and we're going to talk a little bit about what I've learned in this game. I am roughly 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 days in, about 15 days into Eternal Evolution, and I'm finding this is now my main game. It is beyond fun. I'm still loving it, but I want to share with you some things I've learned over the course of this game. So if you're just finding this channel for the first time and you want to hang out, I try to get out 2 to 3 videos a week, sometimes more, sometimes less. Crazy work schedule, but I'd appreciate it if you liked, subbed. If not, just as cool. Also, if I forget to mention something you've learned, leave your comments down below and help out everybody else. So we're going to take a look inside the game. I think I'm doing fairly well. I've only made one purchase in this game for $5, and I'm loaded with resources. You can see up here, I got 67,000 crystals, 19.4 million gold. So that's one thing I wanted to tell everybody. Choke points in this game are not gold, and they're not the crystals. So we're going to talk a little bit about choke points and where you got to be picky with your resources and how you're spending them, right? So let's start with my first big choke point. We're going to jump into my bag here, and it's these. Any sort of material used to upgrade gear. You can recycle old gear in, and you do get a lot of these. But what I really like about this game is usually in an idler you build one team and you just take it all over the place. So this, you got to have multiple teams, different strategies. You can build them differently. I love it. So building that requires gear, and with the no cost of gear, I find myself trying a lot of things and seeing which one benefits, right? So that no gear cost removal is amazing. But I do run into a lot of times where I'm running out of these consumables that are used to upgrade your gear. Next choke point for me that I've run into is your runes. They are used to upgrade your commander's weapons. You have to be very selective and specific on what ones you want to upgrade, right? And we'll go into my characters in a minute and I'll show you, but to upgrade their customizable weapon, you need these, and they go quickly and they're not around very frequently, so make sure you're doing that, right? The other choke point I kind of have seen is, just because it takes a sheer volume of these to continue to upgrade, are your catalytic furnaces. So let's just go ahead and use those, and it's like, oh great, I got 50,000 of them. We'll jump into a character. So let's go into my heroes, right? And we're going to go to the talents, or not talents. I am going to talk about talents, but that's not what I was talking about. When you go into, here's where I was talking about with those consumables. Like right now I'm focused on Taylor, I'm focused on Artis, because my Triple S champions aren't as strong as some of my other ones, right? So you got to make sure you're not using those as much as possible. Or I mean, they're still strong and everything, but until they get to the point where they even get the weapon, I'm not really using it very often. And I'm sorry I misspoke on that. Going to your prototypes, and let's try to find one here. Here, I have 71,000, or 751,000, right? But to upgrade them higher and higher, and different rarities of them, you just seem to blow through them. See, like, we'll just upgrade this one, because I think this one's actually, I don't think it's really worth it, but we'll take it to 9. Right there, I did get one that, was it this one? When HP of an allied defender heals. Yeah, this one here. This one's not a bad one if you're running a one tank defender combo. See, but I'm not getting it up to 19, but that's besides the point. I'm going off on a tangent, but that can be a choke point for sure for you, right? And I made a mistake of just like upgrading everything, and I recently just ran into all that because now I'm conserving and hoarding. So just don't do what I did. Make sure they're selective. Make sure they fit your team. Now we're gonna go into heroes, and we're gonna jump into their talents. And this is what I was talking about. These up here, your soul potions, those are very, very rare. Hang on to them. I like to upgrade so I can test, so I can start doing videos on certain characters. So just make sure you're hanging on to those, right? Now, those are your choke points. What else I've learned is this game is very generous. There's super cool things I like about this game. This Pleiades treasure, I pretty much buy this every day because I get overwhelmed with the crystals in this game, and it's usually like 900 crystals. On a daily average, I'm averaging, like, mind you, free to play after that one pack, which was like day 2. I'm at 67,000, so is 900 gonna make that much of a difference? No, I'm averaging like 2 grand a day, right? So crystal consumption, they're generous with it. If you come into the shop, I buy a lot of things out of the shop. Like these, I'll buy the cash ones. If these were gold or higher, I'd buy those, but I kind of let that one sit. But you can spend your crystals in this game and not have to worry about being starved for it. Very, very generous. Amazing, right? And a lot of what I like is I'm not a big PvP player. For people who have watched a lot of my content, I'm not a big PvPer. I don't like it, but I don't mind doing my PvP in this because I get 150 crystals a day by doing 5 matches. I never have to touch it again. The Galactic Arena is 3v3 essentially for those people who went to Raid Shadow Legends, but what I like is they tie events to it. There's a special currency for it. Like right now, there is an event going on with Galactic Treasure, it's called. You get 5 a day by winning in your Galactic Arena. Super, super cool. Just something to keep an eye on. I overwhelmed with how generous it is, and don't worry about that quantity of resources. Like, I've hoarded up and hoarded up. A couple people asked me, what do I spend my crystals on? And I know there's some comments out there that asked me some questions. I just haven't had time to get back to you. I plan on doing that tonight or tomorrow when I'm sitting around watching football. But I do a couple things, right? First, in my perimeter, Disa Caves, I reach my limit, but I go back in and I do 9 of them a day, 50 crystals a piece, because I need the gear, right? Gear is always going to be a crunch in these types of games because you're trying to find that one specific piece. So you do that, right? I also have been spending my crystals on coming in here, and again, you'll see I've reached my thing. I buy as many of those as I possibly can. I am on Raffle Shop 7, and we're going to talk about the Gene Hybrid Shards, and we're going to talk about the Blue Balls, as they're called, in a couple seconds. But that's just something I spend my crystals on. In the beginning, I was going in and buying basic summons for that, just to kind of get in and do my thing, right? But now that I don't do that as often. I very rarely, maybe I'll come in just because I feel like pulling something, but I pull all the time. I don't, the only thing I hoard are my limited tickets, and with this new little patch that they just put out, an update they got coming, I'm going for Skewer and Hattie. I played around with them in Wastelands and the Rift, and I really like them. I just find them to be fun, and customizing them would be cool. So I kind of blew the 10 I had there. Another question is, what's better, right? We talked about the blue balls. What is better? You get a blue ball and it counts as an elite hero card. So it is essentially a wild card for anything you want. So what's better to save up for? Your specific hero or your blue ball? And honestly, out of the shop, the answer is your blue ball. Because you can use that for anybody at any time and it's cheaper. In my opinion. Right? So the only time I would suggest not spending on the blue ball is if you don't have one of these SSS champions that you want, right? But if I have all of these, or these characters don't look interesting to me, I'm going to get the blue ball. Because I can use it for any one of these heroes. Or any hero I want. Very rare currency. I don't consider that a choke point because you don't need them, right? To progress. But that's my answer on that. So there's answer that question. The other thing I like to do every single day, which has really helped me out, is in my perimeter, Disa Caves, I do a progression. I start my day, I get all my dailies done, I do everything, wasteland, blah blah blah. Then I go through and I start recycling my gear. I start looking at upgrades in gear. I'm farming stage 10 on auto. Still not beating the 130, but I'll get there eventually. And what that does for me is, then I start with my top champion, and then I'll show you that in a minute. Like, I recycle them down the line, so in case I need to plug and play, especially with the soul mines for the specific factions, you need more characters built up. So, but then after I do all that, I come back in and I challenge. It doesn't cost anything to challenge at one time, right? Well, now that I'm in, that was 10. See, I go to 11. I haven't completed this. It costs me nothing to try to challenge it. I can go ahead and challenge it. And then I go back and challenge it. Every day I do Disa Caves, Terradome, Marsh. Every time. So that's just something that I do every day. And what I was talking about is you might not have it yet. But eventually these open. And you need 5 champions, sometimes 10 champions, to go through and do it. And it can be tough. Because you might not have a lot of characters from that faction leveled up. So your gear, swapping your gear, keeping up on gear is super important. That I learned that I wasn't doing at first, and I'm like, how come I'm not progressing? And now that I'm doing it, I mean, 15 days in, I'm on chapter 1940. I'm okay with that for spending $5, right? So how I do it is I just go into my heroes, and I start with my strongest hero. I go to my equipment, and alright, did I get anything either heroic or anything with better substats? And I just go through and I look and take it off. I move it around, I play with it, I level it up, and then I move to the next one. Do the same thing. Level them up, move on, look for better substats, and so on and so on and so on and so on. Right? And as I do this, let's back out of here. And we're gonna go to, like, somebody, like... Now I'm able to get all better gear on, not leveled up yet. Because right now, these don't have the substats I want on them, so I'm saving that leveling resource. But I have gear on them. So if I do need to use them or plug them in or I want to try out, it's there. So just another little tip that I do that I found out in this game. Also, this elite event chapter is really cool. 2 days left. I don't know what I'm going to do anymore. But always make sure you're checking up here, right? Make sure you're checking for new events and new challenges and things like that to drop, because like the elite chapter, I just kind of saw it there and I was like, what is that? And I clicked on it and I was like, oh crap. And I got through it, right? And there's a lot of good rewards in there because the shop is pretty good, right? I bought an Emma to level up my Emma, and then I cleared all these out. Perfect. I mean, I got 4,200 more crystals. I got summoning rare, or the limited summoning chips. There's a lot of good stuff in here. So just make sure you're checking that out. So, the other thing is too, real quick, don't focus so much on the guild boss. I have yet to see like a progression of gear in the guild boss, and when I was watching J-Gig's video, he's like, oh, I just put up 20 million in the guild boss and I'm still getting purple gear. So don't worry about that right now. Get in there, do your stuff, get out. Right? The guild hunt was a little better for me. I actually seemed to get a little better gear out of the guild hunt than I did here. But sometimes people just focus. And when it comes to the guild shop, I am hoarding my guild currency until I get the best gear possible to come in and start buying that. It's another question I get asked a lot. So that's all I got for everybody today. Just a short, quick video. It's just some things I've learned to try to watch out for. And still loving this game. I still think it is, like I said, it's my #1 game. So if you haven't tried it, there is a link down below that will take you, helps me out, helps them out. You can try it out, but it is just a wonderfully fun, refreshing game. So hopefully it stays that way. So I will see you on the next one. I'm out.